Hi, I'm James Cole Morrison. I bitch about it, so you fuckers can listen. Right, trying something new here. Recording off of OBS. I'm assuming Mr. Frank Dukes tried to sabotage the Bloodstalk review by trying to project telekinesis and fuck up my mic and all that shit. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So I do apologise for the mic quality of the Bloodsport review, if indeed it does come out before this, but yes, this is something new, and hopefully this is going to prove a lot better for the future reviews. Anyway, this is a franchise that is near and dear to me. I didn't think I'd ever review a series, but what with the hype based on this recent sort of... I think it's fair to say that this was a failure, unfortunately. The recent failure of Kevin Smith's sequel adaptation of Masters of the Universe Revelation. Yeah, I thought I would throw my 2 cents into the mix and sort of ride the hype train, as it were. But to be perfectly honest with you, this is a franchise that is very near and dear to me, and a lot of people in the mid-30s and 40s, probably this was a massive part of their childhood. It was a huge line of toys from Mattel back in the day, adapted into a comic book and turned into the much-loved cartoon series. It was a Christmas staple at my grandmother's house to watch Masters of the Universe for Christmas. You know, when it went on terrestrial telly for Christmas, from that point onwards, it was a Christmas movie. She recorded it on VHS. We had a massive collection of recorded VHS tapes. She learned how to record. It was a massive thing to her back in the day, and He-Man was always put on the telly come Christmas time. Almost without fail, He-Man would be on the box. So this was a this is a franchise near and dear to me. A lot of great memories. You know, I have the VHS copy. We actually did buy it proper eventually, and a lot of good memories. Not a good enough memories for me to get the Blu-ray, but nevertheless, good memories. Good fond memories. Right, so I'm going to be very gentle with my words, because like I say, I wanted to sort of jump onto the hype train on this, but I don't really want to slander it. Now, first of all, on a side note, I really like Kevin Smith. I always have done. I think his work in the film industry is fantastic. From Clerks onwards, it's a very creative gentleman. Dogma is by far one of the best films that you simply cannot watch these days. It's just not available on Blu-ray or any streaming sites at the moment, and it's a real shame. It was a fantastic movie. Alan Rickman's sort of one of his best films, and you know, Alan Rickman, fuck me. I mean, any good film with Alan Rickman is effectively gold dust. You must watch. So if you can get a hold of a DVD, which is going for extortionate prices on eBay at the moment, please do. You would enjoy the film without a doubt. Again, Chris Rock's best film as well. Whatever that's fucking worth, 'cause he's been in a lot of shit. Anyway, Master of the Universe Revelations. So the marketing hype has really slanted and completely fucked over this recent sort of offering of this particular franchise. And I've got to be honest with you, as much as I didn't like the direction that it went through, as much as I didn't like the focus on the female characters, I have to say this was a well-told story, all things considered. The acting and the voice acting was absolutely fantastic. I mean, in terms of plot synopsis, I mean, there's no plot spoiler here to tell you that, unfortunately, He-Man and Skeletor effectively meet an untimely demise during the first episode of the series, which basically pissed everybody off, and every right to be pissed off, considering that He-Man has been the central point of all of the marketing. He's been the focal point of the entire... I mean, we all wanted to see He-Man. You hear Master of the Universe, you want He-Man. But as a person that's literally just purchased the books, the Ladybird books from his son, for a very cheap price on eBay, and I'll tell you what, the Ladybird books always incredibly incredibly illustrated, amazing pictures, and the He-Man offerings are fantastic, and they're so well written as well. I wish I knew the name of the author. In fact, if you could find that out for me and let the entire world know, I would recommend a lot of those. I'm literally reading those to my infant son at the moment. He-Man and the Iron Master, Wings of Doom, really fantastic stories, incredibly well written, sort of pre-teenage. And yeah, illustrations are, as always, are fantastic. Highly recommend them. But yeah, I mean, there were creative choices that I hated with this series, notwithstanding the untimely deaths of sort of He-Man and Skeletor. Really, I mean, the first episode was fantastic, despite all that, and it was a very epic and well sort of done, well animated story. A lot of the characters, I mean, bear in mind this is a sequel to the series, effectively. I mean, a lot of the characters have been given these new sort of dimensions and these new sort of story plots and twists, and I'm kind of intrigued to see how far it sort of progresses and whether we do get to see either a comic book version of this series in terms of progression, or whether they're actually going to green light and some new episodes. At this point, I doubt that's going to happen, but it would be a shame, to be honest with you, because I want to see a continuation of this story, really. I'm not going to spoil the ending if you are, in fact, bothered or want to sort of watch this, but yeah, I mean, honestly, you wouldn't be disappointed. It's still an entertaining ride, to be perfectly honest with you. So, a plot synopsis. So, as I said, He-Man and Skeletor meet an untimely demise defending Castle Grayskull. You get a little bit of background on the history of Castle Grayskull, and during their sort of head-to-head collision, the power sword that is wielded by He-Man is basically split in two. And in order to salvage all of the magic from Eternia, because unfortunately time has moved forward and Eternia is now sort of walking away from sort of magic and sort of moving further towards technology. Unfortunately, it's going to get to the point where all the magic of Eternia basically disappears, and then the entire existence of the entire wieldings of the universe. Apparently, Eternia is the center of the universe, folks. As when all the magic sort of disappears and goes away, then all the creation basically ceases to be. So, in order to prevent that, Teela and Evil Lyn team up, and they go on a quest to find the two halves of the power sword, one being in Eternia's version of hell, the other being in their version of heaven. So they literally have to go on a journey through heaven and hell to get these parts of the sword. Now, one thing that I didn't like is they went to hell first and then heaven. So in terms of a sort of like a build-up, for me that kind of sucks. But even so, it was still a well-written story. Characters from the sort of lore, from all the sort of like rejected rejected action figures that didn't make it into the cartoon, they do make appearances in the in this series, almost like a homage. Like Stinkor makes an appearance, and this weird guy with sort of spikes in the very first episode and like a trident on his arm. I actually had that figurine. I couldn't tell you what he was called, but he's there for anybody to. In case anybody knows his name, please let me know in the comments below. But there are notable sort of like figures and bits of lore that people would appreciate here, and like I say, the acting, the actual voice talent is phenomenal. To give you an idea of who's on board here, Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy from Batman the animated series, they are on board for this for Masters of the Universe Revelation. They do share their talents, so heavy hitters here, folks. You know, people that you will not be disappointed with. I was slightly disappointed in some of the characters. My favourite character of the old cartoons, aside from fucking He-Man, of course, was Trapjaw. He isn't in it quite a bit, and I mean, he's dispatched quite quickly by one of the sub characters. Pretty cool way, to be honest with you. It was pretty awesome to see, but at the same time, I'm a bit bummed because I wanted to see more of him, really. Triclops, probably one of the worst sort of like villains, or like one of the throwaway villains, like the weird guy with the eyes, like they sort of like rotated around his head. Um, he, yeah, he's basically come up with a cult and has taken over Snake Mountain, based on sort of nanobots and sort of new technology, which is great, I suppose. I mean, giving somebody a bit more depth and bit of character arc. Beastman is basically a simp. He's chasing around Evil Lynn. Basically, he just randomly appears and he's basically trying to hump her leg throughout the entire series. It's kind of sad to watch, really. Merman, who is voiced by Kevin Conroy, is in this as well. He makes a quick sudden appearance. There are notable sort of absences as well. Ram Man, didn't see him in this at all. Many Faces wasn't here at all. Stratos, I don't believe made an appearance in this either. So a bit of a shame, really. A lot of missing faces, but like I say, there are. I mean, I don't want to dwell on the negative here because everybody seems to have dwelled on the negative. Bear in mind, this is a very divisive series. It got a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, like a critical acclaim, but basically it's been audience bombed and it's got like a 32-36 audience score at the moment. So the common people, as we're called, we've not taken too lightly to this whatsoever, and it's now officially not on the top 10 Netflix sort of download chart. Although I'm not sure whether Netflix has a say in that or not. I don't really know how the top 10 works. Is it the most viewed? I mean, I honestly don't know. But it's no longer there, so they're not sort of they're not pushing this series. Let's put it that way. So I think what they're trying to do is basically put this quietly aside and sort of let it die, really, which is a real shame, an absolute shame, because this is a generally well taught, albeit short, 5-episode series, and you will not be disappointed if you put aside a lot of the gender identity issues and a lot of the disappointment of not seeing He-Man effectively. There is plenty of things to enjoy here. There is a decent story to be told. A lot of sort of like character sort of development and sort of exploring. I mean, Teela is basically got the main focus, and that seems to have pissed everybody off. But yes, okay. I mean, she was the least likable sort of character of the old series. I mean, I wouldn't say unlikable, but she was basically a nothing character. There wasn't really anything exciting about Teela. It was all about He-Man. But she was technically a master of the universe. I mean, that is the title. In terms of the book, she's referred to as a master of the universe. I mean, there are things about Teela that in the books that just aren't really explored in the TV series whatsoever, which is a real shame. But anyway, I just wanted to sort of champion this and sort of let people make up their own minds about this series, really. It's a real shame that it's, I mean, Kevin Smith is obviously having a very bad time with this. He's tried his very best to promote this. It's obviously, people have felt cheated and misled because of the focus on He-Man, who just simply really isn't in this. I mean, I'm not going to pull the wool over people's eyes. I mean, that is the main point of disdain here from the sort of viewing public, but there's no He-Man in their He-Man series, simple as that. And Mark Hamill, who plays Skeletor, very rarely makes an appearance as well, although his appearances at the beginning and end of this series are by far some of the highlights. He's a very, very welcome to see him make his appearances here and there. I've just given a bit of a cheeky spoiler, bear in mind I said that he died at the beginning. Oh well, never mind. Fuck it. You'll have to watch it and see what happens. Hey, see how he comes back. If not, and bear in mind I did say they're going to heaven and hell, so you would assume maybe Skeletor is in hell. maybe. Oh, there you go. And yeah, I mean, some notable scenes. Orko makes an appearance. The least likable character of the old series. Has a very memorable scene in this series, and it's very. In fact, he has some really good scenes actually, more than one. Rather, his final scene being the best, but yeah, Cringer as well has some excellent dialogue and lines. Just a lot of nice, notable sort of moments from characters that you wouldn't really bat an eyelid from the old series, and maybe that's what Kevin Smith wanted. He wanted to. Maybe he wanted to sort of build up the supporting cast before the main sort of meat of the second series came to be. You never know, and maybe we'll never find out. But oh well, like I say, maybe this is worth a watch. Maybe it's worth a support. I'd be honest with you, I'd be interested to see where the series goes next. If we ever get a continuation of a story, I would love to know what Attorney would look like after the events that have unfolded in Masters of Universe Revelation. And hopefully we will get to find out sooner or later. So hopefully Kevin Smith can recover from this. I don't know if he wrote this. I know he was executive producer and he was very heavily behind the project, but everybody who was involved with this, hopefully they can pick themselves up from this absolute dog pile, this complete bashing, and hopefully we can get some more creative juices flowing for a next series. Who knows? But anyway, I'll be reading my Ladybird books, and I'll be warming up the VHS player to play a bit of Dolph Lundgren fun. And until then, folks, you take care of yourselves. Have a fantastic evening. Stay safe, and I will see you soon. Morrisoni out.